growth parameters of the Russian Federation. In this article, we present comparative economic and empirical analysis of the parameters of the inclusive development of the Russian Federation for the 1999-2018 years. The corresponding graphs using the algorithm by the MC Excel program, and here is I describe the analytical calculation of the inclusive parameters, and here is GDP growth of GDP and income poverty inequality, and here is growth of population and life expectancy and income poverty of the country. And here, first of all, in introduction of article describes the inclusive development index is calculating on the basis of 12 indicators grouped into 3 groups. And first part of inclusive development related to the growth and development. And here is we include GDP growth, employment, labor in productivity, life expectancy, and other inclusive parameters. The second group of inclusive includes income, poverty, and inequality, and householding. Third generation, here is including the sustainable of groups of economy, and here is savings rate, demography, pension, public debt, and pollution. And then here is we have in this article we analyze a review of recent publication about the inclusive parameters. And here is I have researched about the on one co-integration issue of trade links of Azerbaijan, Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. Here is I used the econometric methodology for modeling and the relationship between the non-stationary time series. And in a second research paper, here is the modeling about Azerbaijan, Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan GDP and integration to the Azerbaijan. And then we have macro. Then here is we find the co-integration relationship between the macroeconomic integration, and then we have the vector error. I create the vector error correction model, and then we describe the equilibrium relationship between the considered and data inter-country interaction. And then in other scientific publication, here is we have the co-integration relationship between the Azerbaijan and GDP and the balances of trade relationship of Russia and Belarus. Here is a research paper is describing the econometric analysis of GDP dependence Azerbaijan from the balance of Russia Federation and the balance of Belarus were carried out according to the statistical indicators for 26 years. And then in third part of the article, it's the analysis of the inclusive parameters. Here is analyzing about the economic and social parameters. The implementation of reforms aimed at creating a market economy in post-Soviet countries is one of the main factors that here is the socio-economic situation. First of all, the geopolitical position, size, and population of Russia, huge natural economic potential, and modern nuclear missile weapons create a fundamental basis for development of Russia Federation. And then here is we have analysis about GDP growth. We know that GDP growth it's economic inclusive parameters, and by the analyzing method during this period, GDP fell just 4 times in 29 and 2009 and 2014. 2014, 2015, and 2016. Of course, it will be wrong to look for some regularity here over the years, but it should be noted that these resistance are mainly associated with individual crises in the world economy. For example, best example for our time is the global financial crisis in 2008 and 2011. And then we have next inclusive parameters. It's the economic inclusive parameter. It's according to the graph 1.1, it's about the export of the country. And export of the country is describing the time period. It's 1999 and 2008. And this period, it's a graphical representation by the Excel. And here is we have period about the increasing period, and then we have decreasing periods, then we have stability period, and then again the decreasing and increasing period of the dynamical procedure of the Excel spreadsheet. And here is it's depend on when increase, when decrease the export. It's depend on by the economic resource of the country. And here is export of petroleum products and natural gas. In 2000, export increased by the 50%, and in 2012 and 2013 by the 66 and 67%. And here is in 2014 it's decreased to by the 65%. And it's all this decrease and increase process describing by the graphical representation by Excel program. And then here is by the Excel program describing the dynamics of the Russian import process. And it's here is again the years, and it's an import process of the Russian Federation. And it's again we have increasing and then decreasing process, and then we have increasing process. And it should be noted that Russian exports are based on oil and oil products. And then here is we have metals, minerals, and other resources of the Russia. And in addition, we have export on natural gas, mineral fertilizers, and machinery and equipment, and military industrial products, consumer goods for industrial uses. And then we have next about then we have the inclusive parameter about the next dynamics of the population growth of Russia. It's a social inclusive parameter. And in social parameter, and it's even analyzing the inclusive development of a country, it's advisable to analyze the level of employment of country's population, which is one of the main indicators affecting the inclusive development of country. And then, according to the statistical reports, and here is employment rate fell to the 8.9% in 2009. The decline in employment in 2009 affected the GDP this year. In general, this decline may be associated with the crisis in the global economy. The employment rate in the labor market decreased by 5.5%, and the employment rate increased in 2012-2016. The corresponding charts, and we have next chart about dynamics of employment of population of Russia Federation. It's again created by the Excel spreadsheet. And then it's employment of them, and then we have next our inclusive parameter. It's a dynamics of life expectancy. What's a life expectancy? We know that it's a social parameter, and it's by the Excel, and here is again the year period 1999 and 2018, and this increase the well-being of people and increases the life expectancy of the population, and in these years where the lifestyle is conducted in a health environment. When life expectancy is used to calculate the human capital index by the country. And then conclusion of our article, and the conclusion of our article, and here is we use empirical analysis, and we can conclude that the economic analysis for the parameters of inclusive development in Russia clearly shows that it's a country with sustainable economic development, and ensures that these conditions are and one of the important conditions for the methodological analysis of forecast for the near future. Here's to analyze the relationship between the social and economic inclusive parameters of Russia using econometric models and apply integration analysis. And when we know that I have one note about the Russian Federation, and on August 2022, and in 2012 years, and the WTO recognized the Russian Federation as the 165th member of the organization membership in the WTO, and characterize an increase in competitive in foreign markets. Russia's foreign economic policy and activities are more clearly defined, and stability as a consequence. The growth of foreign investment in country is main task facing the country, and it's meaning that here is we have increase of the economy of the Russian Federation. And considering all this, and it will be said that Russia is a country with sustainable economic development, and Russia ranks 38th in the competitiveness rating among the post-Soviet countries for the 2017-2018 period. And in conclusion, let's look at the analysis of the all indicators, and I mean here is, for example, indicators about economic and social, and it's in index of the inclusive development of the Russia year by year, and increasing by the around the post-Soviet countries. And here is in reference, and here is we use I use the 11 literatures, and first of all it's a development of sustainable economy of the post-Soviet countries, and then before this article publishes about the integration analysis about the post-Soviet countries, and here is describing the and trade relationship, GDP relationship between the countries, and here is the creating the models, econometric models, and analyzing the integration process, and then applying the forecasting about these post-Soviet countries. And thank you.